Hello viewers, welcome to Kashmir Life. As you know, we are in the conclusion of World Craft Council event in Srinagar. Srinagar has been bestowed with the honor of being a craft city, a huge network of handicraft making, handicraft producing cities across world, and we had the first event for the last 2 days. It is the third day. So I am right now with Mr. Saad
Al Kadumi,
Saad
yes.
Al Khatumi, and I'm Masood Hussain, and we'll be talking about what are the issues that handicraft is facing. So, welcome to the show. We are in a shikara in Nigin Lake. Let us start with basically handicrafts have been the bread and butter for most of the world for most of the time. But now we are in Industrial Revolution 4, where we have machines working for us. And these machines work with precision, with speed, and are better than the hands that have been weaving the crafts on earth for most of its history. What is going to happen now?
First, good morning. It is 6 degrees, and the serenity of the lake is very beautiful. We're disturbing it with our with our voices. It's lovely to be here. It's a great place to come back to. World Craft Council and Srinagar, the government of Jammu and Kashmir, we have started with the designation of Srinagar as a world craft city, all in the purpose to benefit the artisan. You have pointed out very important, dangerous factor on handicrafts, which is, you said, the machines taking over and doing, replicating the handicraft. And you said that they're probably doing it better
Yeah.
than here. I differ. The only difference is maybe they can replicate it, but you cannot replicate the amount of passion and love and manual work that is put in the handicraft and in the end product. That is irreplaceable. The artisan that is working on this product, he is doing it from generations to generations to generations, keeping this craft alive. That's one. The stories behind it, keeping it alive. There's a story behind everything. He's putting, or she's putting, all her love in the and passion in that, and that cannot be replaced by any machine. Uh, Nevertheless, yes, now we are all facing the threat of technology taking over mass production and artificial intelligence. Now the 3D concept is,
Yes, 3D printing. Yes.
is taking it. But at the same time, the traditions need to develop in a way to use the technology to enhance the craft itself, the manual work itself. Maybe we can use it instead of using it against handicrafts, or we can use it to help and enhance and give. We should use it to our advantage rather than allow it to take over. So these are one of the threats that are facing this community and this industry. And World Craft Council aim is to protect, preserve these crafts and traditions in the best possible way we can in all the 5 regions of the world that we are representing, like Africa, Europe, Latin America, North America, and Asia Pacific. That's to start with. We've done a lot here in Srinagar. We have around 67 World Craft City designated areas in the world, and this helps the artisan and actually connects the world in a way under World Craft Council that you do here, Pashmina. Maybe in another country who is got it's doing it another way of weaving. There will be exchange of I think exchange of knowledge, exchange of technique. We put the world together, and together we are able. An artisan alone in Srinagar cannot face the threats, but all the artisans and under such groups who want to save, in unity you get power and strength. And this is, I think, what Worldcraft Council is trying to integrate under the Worldcraft City program, integrate together all those regions, all those artisans, change of culture, exchange of experience in a fashion that the world knows about it. And that's, I think, briefly what I
But
can
but
say is
but
getting.
what can we do with the mass production? It is man versus machine. The
Yeah,
bigger problem is mass production,
yeah.
and then there are intellectual property issues. Imitation has been there.
Uh,
Kashmir has suffered for a very long time because of, sorry to say, Pasley shawls and Lockhart loom. We just was because it was produced just for the mass production. So now these issues are becoming magnified. These are very visible now. These are creating
yes,
havoc with the handicraft community
actually,
across world, not only in Kashmir.
it's very interesting what you have said now, because it has been a threat. Worldcraft Council has been created by three ladies pioneers, two American ladies in 1964 and one lady from India, Kamila from Delhi. She is from Delhi. In 1964, they established Worldcraft Council exactly with the aim. They have been able to have the foresight, the threat of globalization and mass production on crafts. That's 60 years, which we are celebrating now. 60 years Diamond Jubilee of World Craft Council was initially set up by these three pioneers, founders, in the aim to be able to face up to the mass production that is the world was coming to, since after the Second World War. The machine took over and everything, and they knew this is going to give a threat on handicrafts and crafts in general. And that is actually the vision of World Craft Council, is to preserve, protect. From whom? To protect it from exactly what you have said: mass production, globalization that will affect it and now 60 years later, with the corona, maybe one of the best things about corona, that we are all locked at home. People and the artisans started to work at home. The technology here, in a good way, linked us together because we could communicate through the social media, through the network. So there was a demand for handmade products because it's all on the social media, and there has been like an awakening and a high demand for handicrafts to order. It connected somebody who's doing it because you could deliver. There was the delivery, so technology here served against in our favor. So I like something from a Japanese artisan. I am in probably Paris. I can order it. It can be delivered at my home, whether it is a vase, whether it is a rug, whether it is a woodwork, metalwork. Uh, uh, any of the handicrafts. So this has enabled people to not want to get a plastic or whatever that looks exactly like a beautiful handicraft that is in the museum. No, we want the actual. We want also, they wanted to know the story behind it. I mean, now we are approaching the boats, and the carving is is enough, and this is handmade. Imagine if this is done by a machine, it will lose the spirit.
We talked about the imitation, we talked about the
Yeah.
mass production,
Mm.
but the larger issue that the handicraft community across world is facing, how to brand their product and how to make it distinct to themselves, because
Okay.
lot many people, lot many cultures have the same kind of, the basket is same, but
Mm.
how to make it different, and they are too small to
Mm.
invest in branding, because branding is a
Yes.
huge, very cost capital intensive area now. So
Yeah.
how your council thinks on that?
Wordcraft Council is a non-profit organization. So what we do is, by working for the best interest of the artisans and the craft masters, is to bring these artisans and craftsmasters together in events related to crafts that are sponsored either by governments or international sponsors or semi governments, where you bring the artisans and the craft masters together and make a kind of festival conference where the branding companies that need, are looking, you bring them together. Here you also minus the effect of many intermediaries between the artisan and the end consumer, because everybody takes a bit.
Yes,
So
obviously.
I buy for $1, I sell for a 500, the same thing. So he gets only the dollar, but so many get so much. So
Yes.
you bring them with one third party. A third party is very important because they can arrange the two. So you bring the two companies together, and that will open, that will open a chance that the artisan himself is in direct communication with a client that is interested in this. A lot of the national entities who are part of World Craft Council, they do that. They do that locally, nationally, regionally, and internationally, and it all goes for the best interest of their artisans. When we do the international ones, then it is different artisans coming from different from the 5 regions, whether it is and they are sponsored, as I said, by the national entities who are government or semi-government ones under the the name of World Craft Council International. So that's one side. Another side is that World Craft Council, through its program of World Craft City, so all designated cities in the world that have that certification, through hopefully we develop a network where we all those are connected, and through again doing workshops, doing it could be virtual even. So we use again technology to our favor. So I can be sitting here in Seringar watching a weaving method in Latin America or in another country in Asia, and all of them watch at the same time and they can communicate and participate. World Craft Council does this. We have many subcommittees and groups, working groups, that are responsible for all matters that would help at the end the artisan. We have publications to work to get them known. Also, we have now developed our official World Craft Council International website. It brings all the regions in. One very important part would be upon the establishment of a bank account for World Craft Council, which is a Belgium registered non-profit organization. Then we will allow this website to be the platform for all artisans through the e-commerce system to be able to, in an organized manner, of course, and there are the committees that will handle this. I'm not doing it myself. Whereby they can come onto the website, show who they are, where they come from, what they do. That's one thing, and they exhibit it, and then we will allow the online, and we go through the system. So this will give the artisan a direct connection with the world. So I come from here, I do papier mache, I'm proud of my product, I can have a platform to exhibit it through the international website of World Craft Council. And this will definitely create interest to anybody who is looking on the net for a specific handicraft that he's looking for. We also have the encyclopedias. We have completed an encyclopedia. Okay, one of the, it's a sponsor, has done the Asia Pacific Encyclopedia for Crafts. And this is always updated. And it has around, it shows crafts that are in Asia Pacific from each and every country, where it is, and probably who are the artisans, because they are the ones. This is another thing that you can access also through the website. We've just finished the one in Latin America. It is the Encyclopedia of Crafts for Latin America. We launched it in Mexico City. And for the same purpose, it would allow all of the world, when they go through the website of World Craft Council International, they can go into the encyclopedia and find out in Latin America, whether it's in Mexico or in Ecuador, Chile, or and that is all to the benefit at the end of the day of the artisan, because he will be known, the area would be known, the spot where these things are happening will be known to everybody.
This initiative could be a great help to the artisans who are by and large in a state of quote unquote that exploitation, because the middleman is the beneficiary everywhere.
Yes.
So that can be great beneficial to these handicrafts across the world. But before we proceed further, I would like to ask you about what were your impressions about Kashmir and the crafts and the handicrafts we produce, and what is the future?
uh, um, uh, in general, when we came here first, we came here specifically to evaluate Srinagar as a world craft city for weaving and pashmina, specific that. And then the evaluation committee that came here, and they did all the reports and went everywhere. Then I came to actually visit it and see how it is going, and to give the designation for Mr. Mahmoud
Hmm.
has mentioned it yesterday. Uh, Actually, where we are now, that was one of the places that I came and visit, and I noticed the carpentry work, the beautiful work of the boats, and I said, "Oh, that boat alone deserves a World Craft Council designated certificate. Every boat should have a World Craft Council Craft City certification." I said,
Because the intricate work that goes into making up a houseboat
yes,
is
and the spirit in
huge.
it, and we met the owners, and it's a family, tradition from generation to generation. So that struck me, and of course, we went to each and every craft master's home and house to see how the pashmina is being weaved, and different grades, and we learned about the algorithm that every, which is like it's a language
Yes,
very private to
yes.
the to the I was very impressed by many things. Then we saw the papier mache, music instruments, the carpentry work, the metal work, and most of all, we sensed how the young generation of artisans, who are very first passionate and proud of their of them being Kashmiri and proud of what they do. So it showed that this is a place where you only need to support the craft community, and they're willing to to expand. So um, I think Jammu Kashmir is the whole area. It's not only about weaving and pashmina. I think carpentry work. I love the Kashmirian rugs, all the other kind of embroideries that we have seen. It is so rich, so colorful. It's a visual.
Delight.
It's a visual delight when you go around. Plus the fact, the charm of the place. No
Yes.
wonder, the lake, the mountains, the beautiful parks. I mean, look at us now. I can see a boat with the beautiful flowers. In the lake. So it has a great potential. What we need now as World Craft Council and the government of Jammu Kashmir here in Srinagar, we are now working on some projects that will eventually fall into the benefit, into the stream of benefiting the craft community here. And from what I have listened and heard from government officials here, and even from the lieutenant governor, he explained how much the government is contributing to help the craft community in the form of taxes, subsidies, financial support in many ways, also providing for their medical, for their all this helps, you know. And I always, like I said in one of the roundtables, I said that I visited many countries in Asia Pacific, and I found out that a lot of them are exemplary in how they look upon the craft community. And I mentioned one of the countries is Uzbekistan, where it is a model because it is they look at the craft community as a strategic, important social and economic factor, not only as preserving the national heritage, but also as one of the cultural aspects that the government is caring about. And this really, the support of the craft community has brought, and this should apply anywhere, you know, that the craft community, the artisans, should be a segment of the society that are, you know, it is all about respect and dignity. You know, when I can spend 10 years, 5 years, 6 months, 1 month, 24 hours for a week to produce something that, you know, there is a lot of pride in this, a lot of dignity in this, and I think they should have this standing in the society. And I noticed that actually some of these countries that follow this have created a bourgeois
Bourgeois, yes.
a bourgeois segment of the society.
Yes.
And I even attended some of the weddings that they had. So you find the woodwork craft master with the metal craft master family with this, and they intermarriage between the papier mache one and the, you know, and the community that I went, like they are proud artisans and craft masters, and they have formed a society of their own standing in the social. So you see these are the crafts masters families and segment of society, and it is really very nice, and you keep it together. So it's a bit romantic, you know, like the papier mache one is married to the son of the metalwork,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So
This craft council was planning to have two things in Srinagar. One is the museum.
the craft,
Second
yeah.
is that you are adding a seal of authenticity. Can you explain these two things? What you
Yes,
plan to do in coming
yeah,
days?
yeah. But basically, we are now talking and having trying to complete a memorandum of understanding. It is a form of shaping the crafts, whereby we're suggesting that together that Srinagar has the potential to be a craft hub, whereby the government of Srinagar will be able to make this a craft hub, not only for from here to only India or to the area, but also broad. You know, so from here you need. There's a demand for some of the crafts that are known and available here. So the craft hub should, and this would create jobs. This would create a constant income for the artisans to work and supply, to be able to supply. In theory, it's a wonderful thing, but we need to go into the practical details on how this can happen. During the roundtable and the panel discussions, some gentlemen also expressed that when we do this craft hub and it works and there's a lot of demand, do we have enough artisans to be able to work, you know, which is a very good issue. So these things, I mean, of course, there are solutions to be suggested how this can be resolved. One of the presidents, vice presidents of the regions have encountered this matter, and she is with us now, Mrs. Nadia, and she said in South Africa they were commissioned by big branded companies abroad to do something in South Africa in crafts, and the demand was so high that there wasn't enough artisans to complete it on time. So they actually came to Kashmir. I'm talking about 25 years ago or 20 years ago. She came to Kashmir and she spoke to the community here, and they finished, because they are all craftspeople, so they finished what was lacking. So this gives an idea that why don't we, for example, think of establishing World Craft Council can, it's all about data, what they do, how many of them in each and every country, and sort of anyone that wants, when you are lacking with the crafts, you can recommend that, oh, this country has a number
Yes,
that,
yes, yes.
you know, this needs to be worked. It's nothing that you can do in one day. So these are thoughts. But the object of this craft hub is basically to get Kashmir, Srinagar as a craft hub for the region, for the world, you know, and this is ultimately one thing. Another thing that was suggested also, and we are working on the memorandum of understanding, is to do a World Craft City Museum,
Museum.
which actually focus. We have four designated craft city by WCC in India. Four. Uh, there are probably more coming on the way. Like in all other countries in Asia Pacific and Africa and Latin America and in Europe. We just actually now going in January, February, whereby we are giving the designated World Craft City title for ceramics in Vietnam, and another one in Vietnam for silk, and that will happen in February. We're going also in January to evaluate in Russia one, and then later on in my country, Kuwait. So we're always in the move. So this Worldcraft museum that is going to be discussed would exhibit Srinagar, India, and all other 67 Worldcraft city designated in a museum. So when you enter it, and from a touristic point of view, from an international touristic global effect, it will have a very excellent reflection on Srinagar, where as a visitor, I see the Museum of Worldcraft City, and I see Srinagar and all the others in India. Then I see the cities that in Central Asia, in South, in West Asia, in South Asia, South East Asia, and in the Pacific. Also, I see them in Europe, in Spain, in Ireland, in UK, in many others. As I said, Russia is on the way. Other countries are coming on the way from Europe and Latin America. That we have around 6 or 7 Worldcraft City, and there is huge potential. Now in the making, there will be applications for at least 2 to 3 applications for Worldcraft City designation for in Mexico, and one in I don't recall it. So you know, Worldcraft Council International with this program is working very hard to put the artisans on the map, and internally we are going now. We are going for the vision of integrating, not disintegrating, for integrating the regions that Worldcraft Council represents, rather than every region or every country working on its own but using the name of Worldcraft Council. That is not enough, because that does not eventually serve. This is an international global, only international global craft organization, non-profit craft organization that cares for the international
Yes.
craft
So
community.
there is a lot of buzz around the seal of authenticity.
Oh,
We
I have
already
to
have
talk about that.
lot of GI tagging, QR
Yes,
coding,
yes,
but
yes.
those are region specific. So how will this seal of authenticity help us? And is this seal of authenticity going to other places as well?
Yeah, initially, you are doing this through the government, where you have the seal of authenticity, which we are also calling it that. And we notice this is to serve mainly and very importantly uh, two what you call it, two parties: the artisan
Buyer.
and the buyer. You know, now the artisan who works day and night, night and day, and produces, let's say, a pashmina shawl, and then me as a tourist who's looking for pashmina, because pashmina, since like you know, since Napoleon
Yeah.
Bonaparte was Josephine, she made it famous. So it's a long thing. And then you just mentioned there is a lot of fake
Yes.
and mass produced,
Yes.
but look identical and feel identical. Now, I as a customer, I will look at it. Maybe it is sold for $70, $50. Oh, and everybody's claiming it's a pashmina one. And then I go to the next stall, and he's telling me it's $1,000, $2,000. And you know, you get confused.
Yes.
This one swears by the stars of and the moon of the sky that it is original, and the other one says it is. I'm sixth generation, seventh generation. So the GI here, we noticed, would help the craft masters whatever they do, but we will start it with weaving and for the pashmina and the weaving textiles. It will start with that and follow. And this is not going to happen in a day, because we will sit, see what are the parameters used, what are the specs used, what are the labs here that are, what do they follow, which system, and it would be a joint team between us and them. And we will start it, and it would be the first time in the history of World Craft Council that we do an agreement with the government on all the subjects we spoke about, and mainly with the GI. And this will be, of course, an official publicized thing that World Craft Council, once we officially approve that we will go ahead with the GI, it will be known, and then we will take it for textiles and weaving and all this to other countries and see if they can fulfill that, so that they can do the GI in their country, and so on and so forth, and it becomes an international one. The second thing, as I said, it is protecting the retailer and the artisan, because also it is serving what you have asked: how do we get the world without all these intermediaries that come in between and leave him with nothing or her with nothing? Is that the GI will also show who is the manufacturer, that seal. So I, as a buyer, oh, I put with the barcode, you know, oh, it is Mr. So and so, or Ms. So and so, or Mr. So and so from this area. She is using those kind of fabrics, those kind of colors, those kind, whether it's organic, whether it is vegetable, yeah, yeah, you know, all the, it will be all on the GI seal. So of course, when I do this simple thing, you know, oh, then when I go to the other one who is selling it for $100 and it's machine made, and he tells me it is the original, even if it's for $100, and I don't say a GI, no, I'd rather go to the GI, and this would help the artisan confidently give the price that he feels it is worth. And in that, you will, you know, we need to educate. You know, I always say, like, I would go to a big brand or designer, and I would not bargain in a big store with a mark, because you know you don't dare, because they tell you go away if you don't, you know. So you buy it without argument. When you go to somebody who's been working for 6 months, and you start to hassle with him, oh no, you cut, and you try to take it even for free, you know. I think all what we're trying to do is to tell the story behind
the product.
the product itself. So me as a consumer, when I understand, you know, the time and effort and the history, the story behind what he's doing, I will have a respect for this. So I say, no, he will ask 100, 500, 5,000, whatever. Then I will say, yes, it is. So the GI will help in that, will give me the confidence to buy it without, because this is an approved thing. He's not lying. The story is there.
Yeah.
The description is there. The name is there, and the place is there, and I can directly go to him or her. So this is what we really try. It's a long, big thing, and it's not going to happen in a month or a year or two. But we set the grounds. This is what the World Craft Council International is trying. Number one, to integrate the regions, to bring in all the regions and its artisans, national entities, to work in synergy with the international projects, to work as a team. It's a voluntary, I'm not paid a salary, they're not paid a salary, but because we believe of the best interest of the craftsmasters and the craft communities and the artisans. So where we are positioned, we are able to help them. So together, I can't do it alone, all those people, but as a team, organize eventually, and it will happen over the years. There's no personal gain, there's no personal benefit. The only personal benefit is you have always, in the end of the day, when you sleep, you have a clear conscience that you did maybe contributed a bit for a good thing, for a good cause. And this is like $2 million or three.
So, Mr. Saad, it has been a knowledge conversation to understand how World Craft Council works and what are its plans and how fast it is going to address the issues the handicrafts and artisans have been facing worldwide by way of mutations, by way of machine, by way of copying and all that. So we wish you best of luck and we thank you for spending so much of time in such a short visit for
No,
us
not
to
at all.
explain
It's
things.
always a
And we
pleasure to be
promise
here.
that the next time we will be here, hopefully in summer.
Yes.
We will see what the follow-up is and in which direction we are going. We thank you once again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.